You are listening to the Centropic Oracle, an audiobook podcast of science fiction and fantasy short stories that make you think and feel.
Bobo by Tom Howard. Bobo, my invisible friend, has never been invisible to me. The overinflated piece of bubblegum has been waddling beside me and giving me constant advice and company since my earliest recollection. I couldn't imagine life without the little guy, although I'd have enjoyed a life of my own occasionally. As a small child, I assumed everyone had a Bobo. My parents initially thought it was cute that their child had an invisible companion. Since I had no brothers or sisters, they assumed it was normal for me to have someone to play with. When I was in elementary school, they grew concerned he was my only friend. They consulted my teachers and sent me to a therapist. Everyone said I was bright for my age, likely due to Bobo reading me science books for bedtime stories, and too reliant on my invisible friend to develop normal friends and activities. The therapist recommended I play a team sport. "This is pointless," Bobo complained bitterly while I was warming a baseball bench in junior high. "You could be using your time more constructively in the library." Shortly afterwards, I developed migraines and had to stop playing ball. Oddly enough, my headaches didn't occur when I studied, only when I tried to do something outside what Bobo considered wasted time. I learned early not to talk to Bobo in front of others. When I asked Melody Taylor in 3rd grade if she had a Bobo, she told the teacher I was talking dirty. With the instinct for self-preservation a child learns, I pretended Bobo wasn't there when I wasn't alone. Aside from my parents' concern that I talked to myself a lot when I was in my room, I felt I was growing into an average teenager. They assumed I was going through a phase and I'd grow out of it. I didn't. Bobo was as real as anyone to me. He was short and pink and bossy with little black eyes and a body that shifted and sprouted arms and legs as he needed them. He occasionally twisted himself into comical forms, trying to explain rhombuses and other geometric shapes to me. If I had a lot of difficulty with an advanced concept, he'd insert a tendril into my brain and explain it to me visually. It always left me with a funny, tingling feeling, and I pretended not to understand occasionally just for a Bobo buzz. I graduated from high school with good grades and a scholarship to a sci-tech university. When I left home, Bobo accompanied me. Never more than 6 feet away, he watched with disinterest as I lost my virginity, scolded me when I did badly on an exam, and distracted me with questions on gravity and cosmic phenomenon when I would rather have been out at a kegger. I became a fan of his telepathic tutoring. It was cheaper than doing drugs. Did I love him? I guess I did. It's like asking me if I love my right arm. I'd never been without it. Of course, my arm doesn't listen to my troubles, explain why liberal arts are a waste of brain power, or make me smarter as Bobo does. Did he love me? Again, I have to use the arm analogy. My arm, like Bobo, would not understand why I cried at my grandfather's funeral, how I could use alcohol to destroy valuable brain cells, or why I needed friends and lovers. He was responsible for my good grades in college. Algebra and calculus were simple, because Bobo had been teaching them to me since 3rd grade. He continued as my tutor, showing me new ways to approach mathematics, often to the surprise of my teachers when I explained to them my thought processes to come up with the right answer. Looking back, I can pinpoint when Bobo decided to leave. He'd probably been seeking a way out since he selected me at birth, but I wasn't aware of his plans until one day in my dorm room. He was reading some news articles online when he suddenly became agitated. He turned a bright gold color, a color I knew meant he was excited about something. "What is it, Bobo?" I asked from the bed. I'd been studying the list Bobo had supplied me for my grad school choices. Noting his color, I got up to look over him at the screen. When he sat at my terminal, he tended to spread out so he could reach all the keys at the same time. He was staring at an article about a proposed asteroid detection and deflection system sponsored by NASA. "You want me to become an asteroid miner?" I asked, after I read the article. "Possibly," Bobo said in his squeaky helium balloon voice. "I'm more interested in this kick-the-can approach they're discussing for asteroids passing through the system. An unmanned ship smashes into the asteroid, and another records the effects of the impact. They can determine its composition. If it's too expensive to mine, they let it leave the solar system without altering its path to any great extent." I read more of the article. According to this, the program is 20 years away. "Unacceptable," said Bobo, slowly fading back to his usual pink color and pulling himself together. "You and I must make it happen sooner." "Why?" I asked, throwing myself on the bed, aware of a slight throbbing in the back of my head. I hoped I wasn't getting a migraine. I hadn't had one in years. Why do you care about asteroids anyways? I want to go into something more profitable, like accounting or law. Bobo turned from the terminal and looked at me with his beady little eyes. I want to go home. I have to be on that ship when it reaches the asteroid. My head was suddenly killing me. Apparently, I was going to work for NASA.
We hope you enjoyed Bobo by Tom Howard, read by Kenneth Tynan. If you'd like to make a donation to the author and narrator of this story, check out the story page link in the description and click the PayPal donate button, or pledge your support to us directly on Patreon. Would you like to submit a story to the Centropic Oracle? A link to our submission guidelines can be found in the description.